Yo, what up guys? This is Taylor. Today is Sunday, the 20th of August. And yesterday I got done with the Big 3 squeeze class. Yesterday was class day. We hit it hard for a good 4 hours, and now I get back to focusing on trading. So a big thank you to everyone who came out for the class. Big thank you to everyone who grabbed the new Big 3 squeeze, joined the mastery. Very excited about the next few months ahead. But as far as the next few days ahead, the Bears took some pretty good control last week. So one thing I want to show you here real quick. On the heat map for the scoreboard, the Bears have control of the 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the 2-day, and the 3-day. As far as bigger time frames, the only thing the Bulls actually have a little bit of edge in, as far as structure, as far as momentum, would be that their weekly chart. They lose the weekly chart, they got nothing more than a hope and a prayer. Now, speaking of the weekly, the big W, what I'm looking for this week, ideally first we get some sort of bounce. I want to get short, but I want to get short from a little bit higher. So ideally this week we see some sort of bounce, and then I want to play that flush down to the weekly 21. I think we're going to test that moving average, and I think initially we should bounce a little bit. I think eventually we're going to break under it, and we'll see what's up from there. The reason I say I think we're going to break under it, you pull back to the buy zone. The art of buying the dip pretty much comes down to what do my lower time frames look like. It's not just about the weekly chart. It's not just about that weekly buy signal. Pulls back to the buy zone. Does everything under the surface actually support that continuation? Right now, the 2-day chart does not support continuation to the upside. If anything, it supports continuation to the downside. Momentum has shifted. The daily chart is on the verge of a daily sell signal. And then you got all kinds of problems on your lower time frames. So 430 for the S&Ps. That's where I think we're headed for now. And then the weekly 21 on the Qs would be about 350. So we'll see what's up tomorrow. Again, what I would like to see is just some sort of bounce. Short that bounce. Take profits at the weekly 21. And then if we bounce from there, do the same thing. Eventually look to short that bounce. So as far as the Bulls getting a bounce going, if we open up the squeeze radar here, the best thing they have working in their favor are all these 5-minute bull squeezes. So if we sort by the 5-minute column, green big 3 means a squeeze and a big 3 buy signal. So the S&Ps, QQQ, the Dow, XLK, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia. Maybe they try to get something going there off the 5-minute. Lowe's, Starbucks, Chipotle, Qualcomm, Square, Micron, and Shopify. So the most important names on this list, of course, would be the indices and a few of these big tech stocks. So the 5-minute on the SPY, and mind you, it's a good-looking 5-minute chart in the face of an hourly sell signal, in the face of a 2-hour sell signal, going against the grain of the 4-hour sell signal, inside of a daily squeeze that just fired short. So you're showing up to a bazooka fight with a butter knife. The odds aren't the greatest, but if all we're looking for is a little pop, right now the 5-minute squeeze is an A+ setup. Got the squeeze signal and we're trading at the entry zone. So down here on the bull target we have 437.70. You can round up a bit. That 5-minute squeeze could take price to the 5-minute 200. And if anything, that might be all she wrote. Squeeze fires long, we go smooch, a little tongue kiss action at the 5-minute 200, and that might be it. But if the squeeze can fire long, we should at least make it into that neighborhood. 5-minute squeeze for the Qs. Indicator says you're looking at an A+ setup for the time being, and the bull target is just about 360. Lines up with that 5-minute 200. 5-minute squeeze on NVIDIA. Bull target of 436.50-ish. So the SPY, the Qs, NVIDIA, and then old Microsoft here. 5-minute squeeze at the target of 319-ish. Again, I don't expect these 5-minute squeezes to fix all the issues. Momentum-wise, structure-wise, a lot of damage has been done here over the last few weeks. It's not going to be fixed quickly, and it's not going to be fixed based on a 5-minute squeeze. So take the context of your bigger time frame signals. If those 5-minute squeezes fire along tomorrow, they should at some point offer a pretty nice shorting opportunity. For the flush to the weekly 21. So a couple names that I like here. So last week we traded AMD for a short. Took profits on Friday morning, pretty much at the open, near the lows. And we also shorted McDonald's. Shorted Mickey D's for some Big Mac money. But as far as a fresh idea, I still like AMD. The nice thing here, the daily squeeze hasn't fired. Excuse me. Allergies are kicking my ass. But yeah, the squeeze hasn't fired. Meaning there's still a good chance here the squeeze does fire short. And today the current target is $97. So for now, we're looking for that squeeze to fire to the downside. Taking price towards that daily 200. Somewhere in that neighborhood. 4-hour chart prints a sell signal and the 2-hour. Now, one thing we talked about in yesterday's class was the concept of a 3-star trade. 3-star trade meaning the stock looks good for a short, the sector it belongs to looks good for a short, and the market is also supportive of a short. So AMD would be a 3-star kind of trade. The indicator says this is a perfect short. Got everything I'm looking for. The semiconductors, SMH prints its first daily sell signal on Friday for the first time in quite a while. So now that indicator tells us momentum, structure, everything's lined up here for the semis to trade lower. So that supports the idea of that AMD daily squeeze breaking short. And then, of course, the market itself. S&P's got problems, the Q's got problems. So shorting AMD feels like a 3-star trade. The setup is there. The sector looks sketchy, as does the market. With that being said, by default, we're not going to find any 3-star trades for a long right now. There's something, there's things like energy. So Oxy is a nice setup. Oxy's an energy stock. XLE also happens to have a nice setup. So there's 2 stars, but you're not getting a third. S&Ps look like dog shit. So that's how it works, guys. S&Ps break, the Qs break. You can't find a 3-star trade for a long. Only on the short side. So I do like AMD for now. And if I can short that just a little bit higher, a little closer to that 21 EMA, we'll do it all over again. And then SGEN here, SGEN. One of the better looking shorts we found in the class yesterday. So what I love about this one is the daily chart's perfect. Right, the label says you got everything you need. A+ setup. What that label tells me is the stage is set. As long as that label is red, there's a pretty good chance that daily squeeze wants to break short. So that allows me to call forward direction. I have a squeeze should fire to the downside. Where I'm able to call for timing is when the buy and the sell signals on all of the lower time frames are aligned for the move I'm looking for. So for SGEN here, we think that daily squeeze could potentially fire short. Every time frame inside of it, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, 30, 15, 5-minute, the red label means they're printing sell signals as well. So now you have a daily squeeze with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lower time frames inside of it, fully aligned for a flush lower. The daily squeeze is the bomb. Lower time frames can be what lights the fuse. So SGEN is a nice one. Bear target says you're looking for about 189-ish. So AMD, some SGEN, and then we had a couple more here. A couple mo. Let me see, shorts. LMT. LMT's pretty solid. Notice how LMT has an hourly buy signal. I can't call it for timing for that squeeze to fire short. Based on how the indicators work, we will never see a daily squeeze fire short while there's an hourly buy signal. So we can call for direction. We can say there's a good chance that daily squeeze does fire short, but we can't call for timing just yet. We have LSCC. Stage is set. I'd like to get rid of that 15-minute buy signal and get a little bit more conviction. And then Twilio here. So I think for Twilio, if they can get a daily close under that 200 SMA, that should open the door here for the daily squeeze to break short. And on Twilio, you have that nested squeeze set up. 4-hour squeeze inside of a daily squeeze inside of a 2-day squeeze, inside of a 3-day, inside of a weekly. So a few potential shorts for y'all. Twilio, SGEN, LMT, and then AMD. And then for a few longs here, the only thing that I'm seeing right now would be the energy stocks. They're the only things coming up on the scans. So XLE's got the good stuff. Before I can think about getting long energy stocks, they have to prove to me they can work. Right now, they have to go against the entire grain. They look the part. Doesn't mean the trade's going to work. First Solar also looked the part. And then it crapped the bed. BK fit the bill. And then it dumped. Monster Beverage had some squeeze signals. That's going nowhere fast. BP had some signals. Now you're stuck. The list goes on and on. BTU, everything kind of fizzles out. A big fizzling. So that's the issue right now. Structure, momentum, the signals in the indices. For swing trades especially, they favor the downside. Doesn't mean energy can't work and buck the trend. I've got to see evidence of that first, and then maybe I'll consider taking a shot. Otherwise, for now, for swing trades, we're getting short. And if I'm going to get long, it's something like a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. Keep it as a day trade, maybe sell some spreads for a 0 day till expiration, that kind of jazz. But there you have it, y'all. As always, hope you find it helpful. As always, I appreciate you watching. Do me a big favor, if you haven't already, hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Adios.